At Rome Fiumicino Leonardo da Vinci Airport, travelers are greeted by an amazing experience, as a trip through art and beauty turns the wait for their planes into an opportunity for discovery. Aeroporti di Roma has been welcoming culture and art for years, displaying works that have gradually transformed every corner of the airport into visionary spaces dedicated to expression and stories. Here, art is more than just a detail. It is an invitation to wander and rediscover the deep link between past and present, explore the connection between the great Italian artistic heritage and newer forms of expression. Where do these works take us? What worlds do they reveal? This is Orizzonte, a podcast series developed by Cora Media for Aeroporti di Roma. When we hear the word crowd, perhaps it reminds us of our most recent holiday. The roads, the beaches, the old towns. Everywhere, we find way too many crowds. On the other hand, it might bring us back to a concert by our favorite band, or even a match at the stadium. In these cases, the word crowd takes on a more positive meaning. We enjoy being one with thousands of other people, beating together like the same heart. Social psychology has been studying these dynamics for a long time, and today, in our present time of hashtags and instant telecommunication, the very concept of the crowd itself is amplified by a constant exchange between both our virtual and true realities. We may very well feel overwhelmed, both by the early morning crowds on the subway platforms, as well as the wave of likes that continue to go off in our pocket. Shall we just give in or fight back? At Rome Fiumicino Leonardo da Vinci Airport, crowd management is a daily affair. Over 50 million passengers passed through the airport in 2024 alone. A national and international traveling crowd, which brings to life an unceasing and mysterious movement. Who are all these people? Where are they going? What dreams, desires, and ambitions are pushing them? So, let's pull away for a moment from this river of collective individuality and look at it all from the abstract and visionary point of view of the arts. We're in the square of Terminal 1, in the departures area, and in front of us we find a large bronze sculpture, a work which alternates matter and void, on which each action is reflected, then disappears, and then reappears transformed. It's Grande Folla No. by Giò Pomodoro. This is one of the masterpieces from the National Gallery of Modern and Contemporary Art in Rome, and it was chosen precisely to greet the passengers who arrive in the Eternal City, or those who are coming through the airport. The work is imposing, in that it first attracts and captures the eye, and then pulls us into its complexity. A sublime representation of Italian contemporary art, which proves that Italy doesn't merely bask in its magnificent past, but continues to be a forge of extraordinary creativity. By gazing upon this work, travelers finally have the opportunity to discover Giò Pomodoro, one of the most important abstract artists of the 20th century. His work stands proud in the field of conceptual art, which has been developing in Italy since the 60s. In this context, where the idea of the piece is more important than its actual production, Giò Pomodoro's art stands out for its geometric shapes and its innovative use of material. Giò Pomodoro was a sculptor, engraver, set designer, and goldsmith who would use sculpture as a way to explore and push the boundaries of matter. In the 60s, he started to use a novel technique where he would use large fabric sheets, secure them with tensioning ropes, and incorporate sculptural elements to generate peaks, folds, depressions, and concavities across the surface. This dynamic composition served as the basis for a plaster mold, onto which molten metal would be cast, ultimately giving form to evocative works such as Grande Folla. Born in the Marche region of Italy, already in his youth, the artist mastered the art of goldsmithing, and then turned his focus to the plastic qualities of metal and the shaping of surfaces. This work belongs to a broader cycle exploring materiality, emptiness, and geometry, in which light reflecting off the gilded sculpture creates a shifting interplay of solids and voids, light and shadow, imbuing the forms with life and movement. These forms, abstract, fluid, and free from any figurative intent, nonetheless evoke the multitude, the great, moving crowd that inhabits non-places such as the bustling terminals of airports. Brightened by the myriad reflections that animate its mirrored surface, the bronze multiplies the throng of travelers, distorting their images and transporting them into a fluid dimension where space appears to melt away, dissolving into futuristic imagery. Beyond mere shape and matter, the works of Giò Pomodoro always play with the observer and the space surrounding them. When we pass by Grande Folla, we're forced to stop, to attempt to move around it, to lean and get a better look, to reflect and enter in connection with the artwork. And when we start to dialogue with it, we start to discover something about ourselves. We have broken free of the great flow of people in which we were lost. Now, we're individuals once more. We are aware of it, and we can finally become the protagonist of our journey. Orizzonte is a podcast series by Cora Media in collaboration with Aeroporti di Roma. Written by Rosella Bettinardi, narrated and adapted by John Vincent Aquilecchia. Editing by Sara Poma. Sound design by Lucrezia Marcelli. Graphic design by Rebecca Grassi. The project manager is Anna Nenna. The producer is Sabrina Patilli. The post-production coordinator is Matteo Scelsa. Studio recordings by Luca Possi.